Welcome to the latest installment of STR DIY. I am Tim, and I am joined by Chris, our owner and expert from residential installations out here in Central Florida. And today we're talking about something that you may hear from your guests. I checked into the house, the toilet was running, and then you've put this on your list to address after the guest checks out and when you get on site and do a review of your property. And what Chris is going to do today is walk us through just general troubleshooting steps you can take to identify the problem, and then what you can do to fix this before your next guest checks in. This does not require a plumber, and it just requires the insight and expertise from Chris to help us walk through this today. So Chris, hello, and thank you as always for being here.
Hello, Tim. You are welcome. Yes, sometimes the toilet is one of the most upsetting because it's just running, which means that we're now losing money, literally going down the drain. So the easiest, and this is probably one of the easiest fixes. There's no reason to be afraid of it. There's nothing major about it. It's a simple step. So the first thing we've got to do with this is down here behind the toilet, there's a valve in the wall. And on the valve, there is a handle. So we want to turn the water off. So generally, this is going to be turning it in this case, it's clockwise. So the valve is now perpendicular. It has now turned off the water supply that is coming from the outside. So this is turned off. The second thing that we would want to do is we would want to disconnect the water supply line from the bottom of the actual toilet reservoir. And as you can see, it's a plastic, and it's just hand tight, and you can do it, loosen it by hand. We're not going to do it today, but we would loosen this if need be. But in this situation, we're going to leave it tightened, and then we would now come into the toilet, the actual reservoir. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to remove the top, and then with the water turned off, we can flush the toilet. Now, with the water turned off and the water line, the water will not fill back up, but as you can see, there still is some reserve water in the bottom of the tank. So anytime you're working in the toilet area, we would want to lay a towel down across the back of the toilet area just for any water. This is clean water. It is coming from outside, so it is clean water. Now, we've got the interior. One of the very first things that usually happens is it's referred to as the flapper. This is the flapper right here, this piece that goes up and down. A lot of times you're going to see they're just made of plastic, a very thin, flimsy urethane, actually. So, and a lot of times it'll go bad. It'll get a piece on the bottom and go bad, and water will slowly leak through it. So to replace that, all you would do is you would undo the chain here, and then we would literally just pop it off from these pins that are here and here, and the new ones literally just slip right on, reattach the chain. You would then reconnect your inline and turn your water on the tub and let the bowl fill. Usually that takes care of the problem. If it doesn't and you still have a problem with water running, the other area that sometimes goes bad is this is referred to as a float. So as the water fills in the tank, this comes up. When it hits a certain level, it turns off the inlet water, so it doesn't let any more water in. So if this goes bad, you have to replace this whole piece, which in this kit would be this piece. So as we can see on the bottom, there's a thread. This is the thread that goes into our inline from the wall. So again, we would have the water turned off. We would have the inline unscrewed from this. And then from here, there's another nut on the bottom that you would loosen. And we would then take this whole piece out, and we would put a brand new piece into it, reattach the feed line. And then at this point, we should have replaced the flapper also. So we've pretty much replaced the interior, which really isn't a bad deal. This kit, I think it was like $39 to replace all of this. So while you're in here, you might as well do it all. Once you've got everything put back together, you would turn the water line back on. And now water is going to come through here, and it's going to come into here, and it's going to fill the tank back up. All right, so if you notice on here, there's a water line, which is where the water should come to and stop. It'll stop from the float. All right. So typically, If this were to have kept on filling, that means the float has to be readjusted, and that's what this is for. You would either turn it clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on if you wanted to raise or lower the float. In this situation, if the water had come all the way up to here, we would want to lower the float. We would want to push it down so the water shut off sooner. And that's really it for replacing the toilet. It should take you probably, with everything going on, maybe half an hour, 20 minutes maybe, to replace all these components and just make sure, because it's not something you want to rush through, but there's nothing really hard about it. And that's it.